Okay. Hi everybody. So in the previous class we discussed about the gynoecium. So gynoecium is a female reproductive structure or a female reproductive part of a flower. So that gynoecium is a collective term. Individual structure of the gynoecium is called as pistil or carpel. Sometimes a gynoecium consisting of only one carpel called as monocarpellary. If it has a two carpel called as bicarpellary. If it has a three carpel called as a tricarpellary. If it is many called as polycarpellary. And in the condition like bicarpellary, tricarpellary, sometimes they are fused. The condition is called as a syncarpus. If they are free, called as apocarpus. Okay. And this is a carpel consisting of a structure, swollen structure at the base. That the structure is called as ovary, and it has a long, slender, tube-like structure called a style, and at the tip it has a pollen receiving structure called as a stigma. So this ovary, style, and stigma, it's the structure of carpel. That ovary, that swollen part called as ovary. Within the ovary is the ovule, and these ovules are arranged in a specific pattern. That specific pattern is called as placentation, or the arrangement of ovule inside the ovary is called as placentation. So this is the swollen part, ovary, style, and stigma. This is the thalamus, and inside it has the ovule. So as we discussed yesterday, there are different types of placentation. So placentation like basal placentation, marginal placentation, parietal placentation, and a free central placentation we discussed yesterday. So inside this ovule is female gametophyte. So female gametophyte is there. That female gametophyte consisting of one egg. So female gametophyte consisting of egg. So during pollination, pollen grain deposited on the stigma. This pollen grain contains a male gamete. So this is called male gametophyte. So pollen grain is a male gametophyte. This embryo sac called as a female gametophyte. So after pollination, this pollen grain produces the tube. That a tube carries the male gametes, and it is discharged inside. So fertilization takes place. Okay. Once the fertilization takes place, the fusion of male and female gamete takes place, zygote is going to be formed. This zygote later develop into embryo. Zygote develops into embryo. Once the development of embryo completes, this whole ovule, after that this part are all get fall off or degenerates. So this is also get degenerate, and this ovule, the whole ovule now develop into seed. ಇದು ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಸೀಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಈಗ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒನ್ಸ್ ದ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಸ್, ದ ಓಲ್ ಓವ್ಯೂಲ್ ಈಸ್ ನೌ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಇಂಟು ಸೀಡ್. ಸೊ ಇದು ಸೀಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೌ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ seed. Once the development of a seed completes, this whole ovary develop into fruit. Now this is going to develop into fruit. So ಈ ರೀತಿ ಅದು ಎನ್ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸೈಜಲ್ಲಿ, it become fruit. Okay, so this is how the seeds and fruit are going to be formed. Remember, after this fertilization only they are going to be developed into seed and fruit. So the next topic is fruit only. So based on that, which part of the flower is developed into fruit, and it is ovary. So the definition of fruit is like fruit is a matured ovary. Fruit is a matured ovary. Okay, so matured ovary na ನಾವು fruit ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೇವೆ. That fruit encloses matured ovule called as a seed. So this is the difference between gymnosperms and angiosperms. In gymnosperm there is no covering over the seed, but in angiosperm fruit enclosed the seed, or seed is enclosed by this fruit. ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಇಂದ ಎನ್ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಸೀಡ್. ಬಟ್ ಜಿಮ್ನೋಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ತರ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ವಾಲ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಸೀಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಬಾರ್ನ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ, ಸೊ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ನೇಕೆಡ್ ಸೀಡ್ ಇನ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್. ಓಕೆ, so this is how fruit is going to be formed after fertilization. So let me write this structure again. So the fruit has a outermost layer, outermost protective wall called as pericarp. ಇದನ್ನ pericarp ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So fruit wall, pericarp is nothing but fruit wall. Okay, and sometimes fruit is developed without the fertilization or without the seed formation. Okay, sometimes fruit developed from ovary without fertilization. Okay, fertilization ಆಗದೇನೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸೀಡ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗದೇನೆ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಸಚ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ fertilization, called as sometimes a fruit developed from ovary without fertilization called as parthenocarpic fruit. Fruit developed without fertilization is called as parthenocarpic fruit. Okay, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸೀಡ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗದೇನೆ ಬರೀ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗಿವ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ parthenocarpic fruit is natural parthenocarpic fruit is banana. Most of the banana, of course few banana were there, they produces the seed, and most of them are, they do not produces the seed. Okay, without seed fruit is going to be developed, as in case of banana, and artificially induced in case of grapes. ಸೊ ಗ್ರೇಪ್ಸಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಮೊದಲ ಗ್ರೇಪ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು, ಸೊ ಈಗ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಗ್ರೇಪ್ಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಸೀಡ್ಲೆಸ್ ಗ್ರೇಪ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದೋಸ್ ಸೀಡ್ಲೆಸ್ ಗ್ರೇಪ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ parthenocarpic fruits. Okay, yeah. So which part of the flower developed into fruit andre it is always ovary. Okay, so it's always ovary, but some exceptions were also there for that. In some plants thalamus is developed into fruit. ಈ ಥಲಾಮಸ್ ಏನೇ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ ಲೇಟರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಥಲಾಮಸ್. ದೆನ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು the pericarp. Okay, so pericarp ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಬರೋಣ. So pericarp is a fruit wall. So pericarp is a fruit wall in some fleshy or dry fruits. So you can judge it, what is this fleshy and dry. Fleshy ಅಂದರೆ ತುಂಬ ಮೆತ್ತಗಿರುವಂಥ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ, ಡ್ರೈ ಇದ್ರೆ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಫ್ಲೆಶಿ and dry fruits, pericarp can be differentiated into 3 layers. 3 ಲೇಯರ್ಗಳಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಶಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ್ದು 3 ಲೇಯರ್ಸ್? ಔಟರ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಸೀಡ್ ಸುತ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ದಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ಇಂಟು 3 ಲೇಯರ್ಸ್. ಔಟರ್ ಲೇಯರ್, middle layer and inner layer. So it has 3 layers. Pericarp can be divided into 3 layers like outer layer, middle layer and inner layer. So these are the general terms, but in botanical terms or technical terms, outer layer is called as exocarp. ಸೊ ಕಾರ್ಪ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ, ಪೆರಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಔಟರ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್, ಕಾರ್ಪ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ನ ಔಟರ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸೋಕಾರ್ಪ್. ಮಿಡಲ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೀಸೋಕಾರ್ಪ್ and inner layer is called endocarp. Okay, so if you recall the meaning, exo means outside, meso means middle. You can remember this. Endo means inside. Okay, so exocarp is outermost, mesocarp is middle, endocarp is inner layer. So in not all the seeds, not all the fruits, some seeds can be differentiated into exocarp, mesocarp and endocarp. So let me take one example and describe. So what are those three layers of fruit or three walls of fruit? If you take the example of mango, if you take the example of mango, okay, so in the mango, inside you can find the seed. ಇದರೊಳಗಡೆ ಸೀಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಓಟೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, and this is the whole edible part. So this is the outermost fruit layer. Okay, so fruit one outermost, ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಸಿಪ್ಪೆ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ, that is actually exocarp. ಅದನ್ನ exocarp ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. So middle portion ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, this middle portion is called as mesocarp. Middle portion is mesocarp, and inside very hard structure is present, that is called endocarp. Okay, exocarp, mesocarp, endocarp, and inside you can find the seed. See here, seed is enclosed by three different layers: endocarp, mesocarp and exocarp. All these three together is pericarp. Okay, and here that edible part is mesocarp. Okay, so mesocarp is the edible part in mango. Okay, so this is one example, like a pericarp can be differentiated into exocarp, mesocarp and endocarp, and this mango is fleshy fruit. So mango is example for fleshy fruit. So let me take one example, like we already discussed that fleshy fruit. Let me take one example for dry fruit. Okay. Okay, so let me take one example for dry fruit as well. If I take the example of whole coconut, okay, so whole coconut is like this. ಸೊ ಇದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಥರ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಕಲರ್ ಇದಿರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so let us label it. So this outermost ತೆಂಗಿನಕಾಯಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಲ್ ತೆಂಗಿನಕಾಯಿ ಎಳನೀರೆಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಆ ಥರ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಚಿಪ್ ಇರೋವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಸಿಪ್ಪೆ ಇರೋದೆಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ exocarp. And the middle fibers like a structure which is present after this exocarp is mesocarp. It is mesocarp, and inner very hard endocarp. So inner very hard endocarp. So in both the case, like in fleshy fruit and dry fruit, this endocarp is very hard, or it is also called as stony. Okay, idrallu ashte hard and stony. You can write hard here and very hard here. ವೆರಿ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೋನಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇದರ ಚಿಪ್ಪು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ, ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಆ ಚಿಪ್ಪು ಇದು ಎಂಡೋಕಾರ್ಪ್. ಓಟೆನಲ್ಲಿ, ಮಾವಿನ ಹಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ಓಟೆಲ್ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಕೋಟಿಂಗ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಂಡೋಕಾರ್ಪ್. ಎರಡು ಕೂಡ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಎಡಿಬಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ದೆನ್. ಸೊ ಕೋಕೋನಟಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರೋ ವೈಟ್ ಕೆರ್ನಲ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ದಿಸ್ ವೈಟ್ ಕೆರ್ನಲ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಎಡಿಬಲ್. ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ endosperm. So endosperm is edible here. So whereas here mesocarp is edible. Pulp ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, that pulp part is edible in case of mango, and endosperm is edible in case of coconut. So coconut is example for dry fruit, and ಇದು dry and fleshy ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲ, hard dry fruit, sorry. So it is example for dry fruit, coconut. Okay, so coconut is example for dry fruit. So here also we can differentiate the pericarp into exocarp, mesocarp and endocarp. Here none of these exocarp, mesocarp, endocarp are edible. So edible part is endosperm, whereas in fleshy fruit like a mango, mesocarp is edible. Here endocarp and exocarp are non-edible, but here all these three are non-edible. Okay, so here mesocarp is fibrous. Mesocarp is fibrous in nature. Okay, so this is about the fruit, and the wall layers like epicarp. So epicarp can be divided into, pericarp can be divided into exocarp, mesocarp and endocarp, and this exocarp can also be called as epicarp. ಇದನ್ನ epicarp ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. So exocarp is also called as epicarp. Okay, so remember the edible part in mango is mesocarp, edible part in coconut is endosperm. Okay, yeah, that's it. And based on the type of pericarp, so type of pericarp, fruits are of two types. Based on pericarp, whether what kind of pericarp it has. If it has fleshy pericarp, or if it has dry pericarp. You can see here it is fleshy pericarp, here it is dry pericarp. So based on this we can call, if it has a fleshy pericarp, it is called fleshy fruit. If it has a dry pericarp, it is called dry fruit. Okay, so we can give some many examples for this fleshy fruit. As we see, mango, okay, guava. Okay, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫ್ರೂಟನ್ನು ಹೋಲ್ ಫ್ರೂಟನ್ನು ಹಾಗೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ತಿನ್ನಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೂಡ ಫ್ಲೆಶಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇವನ್ ಟೊಮ್ಯಾಟೊ. So don't tell that tomato is not like a fruit. Actually technically tomato is also fruit. Okay, so dry fruit can give coconut, areca nut, groundnut, cashew nut. So these are all example for dry fruits. Okay, so ಯಾವುದು ತುಂಬ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಡ್ರೈ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಡ್ರೈ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Okay, so this is one category of fruit based on the nature of pericarp, fleshy fruits and dry fruits. Okay, and these fruits can also be classified into different types depending on different criteria. Okay, so let me take few examples for this. Types of fruits based on ovary. Okay, so ovary and other structures. So ovary matte other structures in the sense how many carpel it has and all. So fruits can be classified into drupes, and berries. Okay, so let me discuss only these two, so because these two are important, and few fruits we can discuss along with the families in the upcoming topics. Okay, so drupes is a type of fruit, okay, where developed from fruit developed from monocarpellary ovary, and it has single seed. Okay, so drupe ಅಂದ್ರೆ fruit developed from monocarpellary ovary single carpel ಇರಬೇಕು, ಜೊತೆಗೆ one fruit contains only one seed. You can take the example of these two. ನೋಡಿ, ಒಂದು ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಒಂದೇ ಸೀಡು. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ನಾವು ತೆಂಗಿನಕಾಯಿ ಅಂತ ಕಾಯಿ ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ, ಅಡುಗೆಗೆಲ್ಲ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಕಾಯಿ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ದಿಸ್ ಹೋಲ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಲಾಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ದಟ್ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಶೆಲ್, ಆ ಚಿಪ್ಪೆಲ್ಲ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಸೀಡ್ ಅದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸೀಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಫ್ರೂಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಡ್ರೂಪ್ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್. ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್, ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ ಮತ್ತು ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಎರಡೂ ಕೂಡ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಡ್ರೂಪ್ಗೆ. ದೆನ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು ಬೆರ್ರೀಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ two or more carpels. Okay, developed from two or more carpels, and it has many seeds. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ಸು ಒಂದು ಅಥವಾ ಎರಡಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರೋ ಕಾರ್ಪೆಲ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮೆನಿ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, give only one, that is tomato. So tomato is example for berry. Okay, so remaining type of fruits we can discuss whenever it's required. Okay, so this is types of fruits are based on which part of the ovary and how many carpels it has. So based on such category, drupes and berries. Drupe is single seeded and berry is many seeded. Okay, and drupes may be dry or fleshy, whereas berries always, most of the time it is fleshy only, like a tomato. Okay, so this is one category of classification of fruit. So let me describe one more category of a fruit. Fruit based on the part of ಫ್ಲವರ್, ಯಾವ ಪಾರ್ಟು ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೂ ಕೆಟಗರೀಸ್. ಟ್ರೂ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫಾಲ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಏನದು ಟ್ರೂ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ? ಟ್ರೂ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ fruit develops fruit develops from ovary. Ovary ಇಂದನೇ fruit develop ಆದರೆ it is called a true fruit. Then what is that false fruit? Fruit develops from any part of the ovary, so any part of the flower, any part of the flower other than ovary. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಓವರಿನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆದರೆ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಫಾಲ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಟೇಕ್ ದ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಟ್ರೂ ಫ್ರೂಟ್. ಟ್ರೂ ಫ್ರೂಟಿಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇವೆರಡು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಲೈಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ, coconut, tomato. They are all example for true fruits. Then what is that false fruit? So false fruit andre, let me take one example and explain. So example is apple. Okay, so if you take the example of apple, so what happened, let's see. So apple has a stalk and it has thalamus. So let's say this is the thalamus. Okay, so on this thalamus ovary is situated. Okay, so this is ovary. After fertilization, so seeds are going to be developed here. So seeds develop ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so when the formation of seeds is almost complete, this thalamus grows further. ಈ thalamus ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, this thalamus grows further and completely covers the ovary. ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಓವರಿನ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. Okay, now this thalamus completely covers and it develops into fruit. ಈ ಥರ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಸಮ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್. ಈ ಥರ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಅಂದರೆ ಥಲಾಮಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಎಡಿಬಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆ್ಯಪಲ್ ಈಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಥಲಾಮಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಆ್ಯಪಲಲ್ಲಿ ಥಲಾಮಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಡಿಬಲ್. Thalamus is edible in apple. Okay, so this is about the fruits. So fruits and their types. ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಥರ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ಗಳಿರುತ್ತೆ ಫ್ರೂಟಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲಿ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಡ್ ಅಥವಾ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ಓವರಿ ಆರ್ ಮೆಚ್ಯೂರ್ಡ್ ಓವರಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಯೂಶಲಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಓವರಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಬಟ್ sometimes other than that ovary, different parts of the flowers can also be developed into fruit. Such fruits are called as false fruit. So true fruit and false fruit is one type of differentiate the types of fruits. Okay, so fruits can be differentiated into different types based on different criteria. So this is one criteria, which part is developed into ovary. Based on that we can classify them into true fruit and false fruit, and it depends on which what is the nature of the pericarp. We can classify them into dry fruits and fleshy fruits. Okay, so like that we have different criteria to develop to categorize the fruits. Okay, so this is about the fruit.